Yo, 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 what's good? Fight family. Just going live on my birthday. Going live because I'm feeling a little bit bored with nothing to do. I figured I might come on here, talk some MMA, talk some UFC 304, which is going down this weekend, which should be a very exciting pay-per-view. A lot of good fights to go down on Saturday. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm trying to open my YouTube channel from my laptop and it's being gay and irresponsive for some freaking reason. Um, I can't stand when things like this happen when I'm in the middle of a freaking video. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it was taking that long. So, I mean, what is there to talk about? I mean, we got, so again, UFC 304. Oh, yeah. And then Virna Roba talking about how she can create problems for most people, and that's how she could beat Weili. All I gotta say to that is, yeah, right, yeah, right. What problems? What problems are you causing Zhang Weili? Virna Roba is massively overrated. I don't care what any of y'all say. Virna Roba isn't that good of a fighter, and people are giving her too much credit just because she's beaten some of the most stylistically favorable matchups for herself. Like, it's ridiculous. She beats Marina Rodriguez, who's not known for good takedown defense. All of a sudden, damn, Sherdog's got this background add to it. All of a sudden she's like the next best thing since Jesus Christ. I don't think so. I mean, she's only beaten Angela Hill, Marina, Lupita Godinez, Lemos. Like, calm down, bros. But then people are going to try to forget. They're going to try to swipe her losses under the rug like they never happened. Like, she lost to Reba, she lost to Dern, Carla Esparza. Now, I know people like to make the argument of, oh, it was a long time ago. Let it go. Fighters can improve. Yeah, well, where is that energy when it comes to fighters I like? When it comes to fighters I like and who they lose to, it always gets held against them. So I think Verna's losses need to be held against her. I don't care. But I'm sorry, if you can't beat Carla Esparza, um, and you can't beat Mackenzie Dern, and you can't beat Amanda Rebus, how are you gonna cause problems to Zhang Wei Li? What's up, no filter? Like, what problems is she gonna cause for Wei Li that Tatiana Suarez can't? And furthermore, speaking of Tatiana Suarez, people are like getting behind the idea of Verna getting the next title shot over Suarez, which is just absolutely stupid. I don't think she deserves a title shot over Tatiana. I mean, Tatiana arguably should have gotten a title shot after she beat Jessica, I think she'll still get one after that win. But I mean, if she was able to stay healthy and stuff, I think she should have um gotten a title shot. I think she should have gotten a title shot. I was gonna say again, she should have gotten one like at UFC 300. It shouldn't have been Yan Xiaonan. Or I'm not saying it shouldn't have been her, but I'm just saying, like, they tried to make her fight Amanda Lemos, who Weili just beat. So I think it's only fair that they try to make Verna fight somebody that Weili just beat. If you're gonna give Tatiana that treatment, why not give Jandy Roba that treatment? I mean, yeah, Verna looked okay. I watched that fight. Didn't look anything exceptional. I mean, she didn't look any better than Weili did against Lemos, apart from being able to get the finish against her. I mean, she was getting out scrambled and reversed in moments. But, fair play. She did get the finish over Lemos. But I mean, I don't know, man. Amanda Lemos was never really known to have good takedown defense. I mean, her ground game is good. Lemos has killer jujitsu. She can submit people, but if she can't get a submission, then it's a wrap. You know, if you put her up against a high level wrestler, grappler with good sub defense, let alone sub offense, it's over for Amanda Lemos. That's why, even though I didn't do a video on that fight pre-fight, I did think that, Virna was going to win the fight, just because Virna does have strong grappling, good takedown ability, and she's also a high level jiu-jitsu specialist. So I'm like, okay, Lemos isn't going to sub her. She's probably not going to consistently defend takedowns. And I also found out that Virna has never been finished, never been knocked out. So I thought, yeah, she's not going to KO or submit Virna Jandiroba. And she's not going to win by decision either. It's been Tatiana's time. The only reason it hasn't been for her because she was injured. She knows that her next fight after Nina would have been for a title shot. Damn straight, man. It's really unfortunate what happens, and really annoying. Like, she just had to get injured after earning that number one spot. I mean, that's the only reason why Jean got a shot at the belt in the first place, is because Tatiana was injured. Although I wouldn't say that's entirely true. Like, I do feel like they would still give Weili the title shot, because what went behind that shot was the fact that it was UFC China and they needed a headliner and they wanted to get Weili on that card, and they wanted a Chinese fighter to headline that card. And I mean, if worst came to worst, they probably would have just got some non-Chinese fighters to headline. They've done it before. I reckon they probably were planning on having Leon Edwards, RDA in back, as a backup just in case, but then that fight ended up being booked in July. I think because they made, Weili Andrade. But again, the reason why Weili got that title shot is because, again, they needed Weili on that card. No one else was willing to fight her. Only the champion, Jessica Andrade, was down, because Jessica, I mean, props to her. She's down to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Even as a champion, she could have said she doesn't deserve a title shot. Who is she beating? But nah, Jessica's like, no, I'm going to go to China. I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to go to my opponent's backyard, and I'm going to defend my belt. And that's badass of Jessica Andrade. So I still think, under given circumstances, we still would have seen Weili Jessica, but I don't think we would have seen Weili Joanna right after that. I do think that Tatiana was always going to be next in line, no matter what, and she would have just got the title shot at Weili at the first quarter of 2020, and Joanna would probably sit and wait for the winner of that because she's entitled. And knowing her, she wouldn't have taken a fight with anyone else in between then. But yeah, that's how I see it. But it does suck that she's had to deal with, you know, all these injuries. It's really annoying because we know how good she is. I think she's the best in that division. I don't really see anybody beating her. Maybe the champ. Other than that, nobody in the division can beat Tatiana Suarez. I mean, nobody can beat her. If Weili can't, no one can. So, yeah. And it does suck that after the Jessica fight, her knee kind of swell up again and took her out of the Lemos fight. But you know what? She's recovered. She's back to training. So knock on wood, no more injuries. And oh, they better freaking book that fight. I pray to God they don't snub Suarez and give the shot to Virna Jandiroba. That would piss me off so much. And Virna's pissing me off asking for that title shot as if Tatiana doesn't exist. And I mean, people will crap on Tatiana for wanting a title shot after pulling out of a fight with an opponent, but then no one says anything about Jandiroba pulling out of the Tatiana fight and then not asking to reschedule the fight with Suarez. Like, who does she think she is? And again, she's not beating Weili. She gets completely tuned up on the feet. And honestly, I'm willing to bet that Weili could even out wrestle her too. I mean, if you get out wrestled by other fighters like Carla, I'm pretty sure Weili could beat her at her own game. let's see these comments. What's up, Blood? Did you see Curtis saying he'll fuck Alex Pereira up? Man, that made me laugh hard. Yeah, I did see that, and I do think that he would definitely beat. I do favor him over Alex Pereira for sure. I think Curtis was kind of on the money when he said that Alex is looking to fight not any heavyweight, but certain heavyweights, like matchups that are maybe either more. I don't know what to say because I don't want to say more worth the risk, but like either big names like John Jones or Tom Aspinall, even though they're bad matchups for him, you don't lose stock by losing to John Jones or Tom Aspinall. But then a guy like Blades, he doesn't really have a name to him. He's not very popular, and he's a terrible matchup as well. So it's definitely not worth the risk. And I feel like he might have a better chance against John and Aspinall than he would Curtis, because Curtis is, the best wrestler in the division and would waste no time on the feet with Alex, although you never know because usually Blades has a tendency to strike with KO artists, so but who knows? Against Pereira, he might just go straight to the wrestling. Izzy is better than Alex. I agree. Curtis would smash Alex. He would. No, I didn't laugh. I didn't really see what was funny about that. But I do agree with what he said. All right. I think Alex can beat guys like Derek Lewis and Ty. Yeah, I agree. I've been fine, thank you. Yeah, he beat the likes of Lewis and Tuivasa, especially Ty Tuivasa, man. Ty is washed. I mean, Derek always has a chance no matter who he fights because he's Derek Lewis, and even if you're better than him, all it takes is one. And Alex has been knocked out before, but yeah, I think 9 times out of 10, Poatan would win that fight. Oh, and did you guys see Max, or not Max, Topuria sort of like unofficially confirming that fight with Max Holloway? Like he tweeted saying, it seems that the UFC has forced him to say yes, El Matador is back. Congratulations to all at UFC fans. Could this be Ilia confirming that he's gonna fight Max next and in the Sphere? Even though, Ariel kind of debunked that rumor and said they want to put it in Salt Lake. It's always possible that they may actually have Ilia and Max fight at UFC 306, which honestly, I mean, wouldn't be a bad headliner. I know Topuria is Spanish, not Mexican, but still, Mexicans speak Spanish, so I think they have similar culture. So I don't think it would be a bad idea to put Topuria on a Mexican card because they're not going to go to Spain at all anytime soon in 2024. Maybe 2025 if Ilia can keep defending the belt, but yeah. And this is Max Holloway's last shot to become the featherweight champion once again. I mean, maybe not last shot, but I mean, if he does lose to Topuria, then I mean, he can always get another shot at the belt, maybe, but he's gonna get old sooner or later, you know? He's gonna be 35 in like 2 years. And we all know that people 35 and over don't win title fights in, the lightweight, featherweight range. So Max better hurry up and regain that title. And he also has a lot of mileage on him too, so it's gonna add up over time. I feel like for Max, it's now or never, and I do hope that he can get the belt back because I am a fan of Max Holloway, and I feel like I've been waiting a long time for this, like something to happen where Volk loses the belt and then Max gets a more favorable matchup to become champ again. Now here we are. Volkanovski isn't the champ anymore, let alone in his prime anymore either. So we don't even have to worry about Volk being a two-time champion. I think Volk is completely done when it comes to championship title wins. So Max don't got to worry about his boogeyman being in his way, holding him down. But is Ilia a more favorable matchup than Volkanovski? I mean, that's yet to be seen. A lot of people are siding with Max to win this fight, but I feel like a lot of people are also sleeping on Ilia Topuria. I think people aren't giving Ilia enough credit. I do think that Ilia is a very tough and a very dangerous matchup for Max Holloway because Ilia is shorter, lower center of gravity. Max won't have a reach advantage. I mean, they're equal in reach. So, I mean, he won't be like Volk where he's shorter but has longer arms, but still, Ilia being shorter, having that short, stubby build could be problematic, along with the boxing skills that he has. And I do think that Topuria has better boxing than Volk, more power than Volkanovski. And Ilya's proven that he can go a hard 5 rounds at a high pace and not slow down. And the last time Max fought a guy who could match the pace and had the cardio to go all 5, we did see him struggle. So, and I don't know if Max is going to be able to snowball on Topuria with relentless combinations and melt him like he's done to other guys. Because Ilya is going to be standing his ground right there in the pocket, and he's going to be throwing heat back in Max's direction. And he might be able to get Max's respect and slow down the pace. However, Max has definitely improved his style like since the third Volk fight. He's sort of mastered an ability to like be patient but still be effective, stick and move. Um, like he knows how to strike without just going berserk mode. He can play it technical. He can play it patient, and still kick your ass. I mean, we saw that against Justin Gaethje because he didn't fight Gaethje the way he fought Ortega, but he still was able to shut Justin Gaethje down. Was still able to stay safe of big exchanges, but also beat Gaethje to the punch. But will he do that to Ilia? It's going to be tough, man, because I also think Ilia's faster than Justin Gaethje. Faster, and cleaner boxing. I think Gaethje has good hands, but not as good hands as Ilia Topuria. And Gaethje's just more of a brawler, too. He's more of a brawler, you know? Ilia's a lot more technical with what he does. Let's see. If I'm Max Holloway, I'm chasing money fights. He had that belt, defended it a few times. Not like he never won the belt. He was a champion. Yeah, but it would still be a nice piece of Max's story to see him like be able to be champion again. You know, if freaking Carla Esparza could get the belt back after 8 years, Carla of all people, I mean, why can't Max Holloway, right? And I feel like it's only fair something like that could happen. I know life ain't fair. I know the universe ain't fair, but I would love to see it. I'd love to see him get the belt back. Also, because I thought he should have got the belt back at UFC 251 because I thought he was done wrong against Volkanovski. I thought he won the second fight. So I thought that was very unfortunate. I feel like the judges kind of ruined Max's legacy there. So if Max can make up for it by, you know, beating Ilia Topuria and becoming a 2-time champ all these years later, that would be amazing. Max should start a new chapter at lightweight. What else is there to prove at 145 at this stage of his career? Beating Ilia Topuria, I guess. But I mean, if he does get the belt back from Topuria, then yeah, there's really nothing else out there for him because Max has like he's cleaned out the division. He's beaten everyone there is except Volkanovski. He already beat Brian. He already beat Yair. He already beat Arnold Allen. Um he's beaten so many guys but the champion. Although he didn't beat Evloev, he didn't beat Aljamain Sterling, and either Sterling or Evloev, which that fight got booked. The winner of that could be in title contention soon. Diego Lopez is someone Max hasn't fought, so I mean these could be fresh matchups, but I do agree. Like beyond Ilia, I feel like there's really nothing left for him. Whereas in the lightweight division, you got more interesting matchups like maybe the Islam fight, Arman, a Charles rematch, Dustin Poirier for a third time, Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor. So, yeah, I actually agree with you on that. I'm picking Holloway to beat Gaethje, but I don't see him doing Ilya like he did Gaethje. Yeah, I agree because Topuria is better than Justin Gaethje's skill for skill, and I don't know. I don't want to say for sure featherweights are more skilled than lightweights, but usually fighters in lower weight classes always seem to be better than the fighters in higher weight classes. Like, why do you think fighters always succeed mostly when they move up, especially when to challenge for a second belt? And I do think like why Max had the success against Gaethje that he had is because Gaethje is tall. He's the same height as Max Holloway. So he's less awkward to fight when he's fighting a guy around his height level who's like 5'11, 5'10, 5'9, 5'8. It's a little bit easier for him to build on his combinations, to engage in the pocket, not having to punch downwards. You know what I mean? Also, no takedown threat from Justin Gaethje. Topuria has the threat of the takedown. He is well rounded. He can grapple. Um, I mean, Gaethje had nukes in his hands as well, but Topuria puts shots together better than Justin Gaethje does. So there's a lot more danger in that one. Um, on paper, Gaethje was supposed to fuck Max up. I know, man. Bro, I should have picked Max to win that fight. And fun fact, when I was doing my predictions and I had the screenshot or the saved image from Big Marcel's Twitter of UFC 300 and I was Xing out all the losers, there was one screenshot I had where I X'd out Gaethje's face. Because sometimes I do my prediction videos like that. I'm like, I'm gonna go with Max, but I'm like, but actually I don't know. So I went with Gaethje, and I regret not just going for it and going for Max. That would have been such a badass pick and such a good flex as well. Oh well. Sterling is a fresh matchup for Holloway too. Yeah, I know. Former champion, new addition to featherweight. Chris Curtis or Curtis Blades? I don't understand the question. Like, who do I prefer? Bro, who is gonna have the balls to break it to Ngannou he isn't gonna see his dead son again because there is no afterlife? Someone needs to tell him, in my opinion. That's a bit of a excuse the voice crack. That's a bit of a touchy subject. I mean, we all can't say for sure what there is after death. But I mean, I don't think anyone needs to tell Ngannou that you're not gonna see your son someday. Like, nah. Let the man believe what he wants to believe. You know, it gives him some sort of comfort, and he might be right too. You never know. Um, Gaethje not ready. Holloway tends to struggle against shorter opponents. That's why I think Topuria is going to be a hard fight for him. And I can't stress this enough. That Arnold Allen fight. I understand that okay, it doesn't matter because he dominated Gaethje, but again, Arnold Allen, he kind of struggled with Arnold Allen. Now, I understand it was one fight removed from when he got his ass whooped from Volk. And in that Volk trilogy, that's career altering damage that Max suffered in that fight. Now, he did come back. He's won like 3 fights in a row, and he still is at the top of his game. But the beating that he took, the damage that he took, that can change fighters. And I feel like maybe one fight removed that may have affected Max mentally a little bit, and it may have just taken him one win to come back and get his bearings together. But again, he struggled with Arnold Allen. Now, Allen's not one of these short stacks like Edgar or Volk or Topuria or even Jose Aldo, who was having success before he gassed out. Even still, like Allen was landing good shots. Allen has good boxing. And he followed a blueprint that it takes to beat Max or give him trouble is you got to punch with Holloway. You can't let him build momentum. You got to stand your ground. And when Max throws, you got to throw right with him. You can't let Max get set and get comfortable just being able to freely put together combinations. And I'm just saying, if Arnold Allen could have the success that he did, why can't someone as high level as Ilia Topuria, a world champion? And again, I've said this so many times. I've always said the one to beat Volk at featherweight is also going to be the one to beat Holloway as well after Volk. I said that if there's someone that's going to beat Volkanovski, he's going to beat Max too, and this might be it. This might be the DJC prophecy fulfilled. Because again, if you can beat someone like Volk, then I can only imagine you could beat Max. You know what I mean? And if you can beat Max, then you're definitely ready to fight Volkanovski. I feel like that's how it works because both guys are so high level. If you can't beat Max, you can't beat Volk. If you can't beat Volk, you can't beat Max. So I feel like him going through Volkanovski the way he did, kind of, it does open up the possibilities for him to defeat Max Holloway. And you know what? If they would have made Holloway versus Topuria before Ilia fought Volk, and let's say Topuria won, I probably would have picked Ilia to beat Volkanovski. I probably would have been way more confident in his chances just based off the fact that he was that good enough to beat Max Holloway. But I can't say for sure though, because I don't know. Like the Max Ilia fight, it's a very 50-50 fight. It's a very close fight that can go either way. But I do think that Ilia is high level enough, good enough to beat him. Um what game Oh, why didn't he do Arnold Allen's game plan? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought he would. That's why I picked him to win. I would hope Max doesn't try that 10-second shit with Ilia. I mean, who knows? It might work. I mean, it worked for him against Gaethje, so you never know. But that would be dangerous because Topuria, he's got nukes in his hands. So, all right. Now, Leon Bilal. Who do you guys got winning that fight? Do you guys think Bilal has a chance? I kind of want Bilal to win just because it's been really hard to root for Leon since that Usman head kick. As an Usman fan, I've kind of been preying on Leon's downfall a little bit, but Leon's good though. I'm not taking away from his skills. And I just think it would be funny too to see Bilal as champ, just to see the fans' reactions, because a lot of people hate Bilal. I don't know. I think Leon's gonna be too good though. Like I just don't see what Bilal is gonna have or bring to the table that Leon wouldn't be ready for or wouldn't be able to deal with. Like, we know Leon could wrestle. His takedown defense is better than what he showed in the Salt Lake City fight, where he was hindered from the altitude. He can defend takedowns. If you take him down, he can get back to his feet. Um, so I don't know if Bilal's wrestling game plan is going to work. He can't strike with Leon. Leon has good 5-round cardio, even in a high pace. Like in the Usman trilogy, Usman took the fight to him and was pushing him on the back foot throughout all 5 rounds, which that has to be tiring. And Leon kept up a high pace throughout 25 minutes and didn't look tired once in that fight. So, yeah, I don't think Bilal's going to do it, but I want him to. But I don't know. I kind of feel like Bilal is going to just fight like Colby did. I have a bad feeling about it. I feel like Bilal is going to do all this talk just to fight cautious and fight off the back foot. And Leon's just going to piece him up on the feet with pure ease. Bilal has a chance. Eh, maybe. Yeah, but Gaethje was already beaten and exhausted when Holloway did that 10-second shit. If it was a fresher Gaethje 10-second exchange, Holloway probably would have got knocked out. Just saying. Maybe, but then who's to say that he wouldn't do that to Ilia towards the end of the fight when Ilia's beaten and exhausted? Like, Max obviously isn't gonna brawl like a dumbass in the early rounds. Like, Holloway is a smart fighter. He knows when it's appropriate to attack aggressively and when not to. He's probably talking about Curtis Blades because he's fighting this weekend. Dustin was around the same height as Holloway and fucked him up. He did. I would love to see that trilogy at some stage, man. To see Max Holloway finally get that one back. And now to see Holloway, who's more prepared and better adjusted to the lightweight division than he was 5 years ago. I would like to see how that fight would play out now. But one fight I'm worried about, though, is Curtis Blades and Tom Aspinall, because I'm rooting for Tom. I think it would be better for the division if Aspinall were to win. Good for Aspinall's legacy. It would be kind of embarrassing for him to lose to Blades twice. And I don't know. I don't want John Jones to get the last laugh, where he's going to be like, yeah, you guys hyped up Tom Aspinall and he couldn't beat Curtis Blades. But I don't want to see that. But sadly, I could see a world where Tom does lose. And then John Jones gets his Twitter fingers ready and then starts talking his shit about Tom Aspinall. But I want Tom Aspinall to stay in the picture, stay winning, and, keep winning to the point where John Jones has no choice but to either fight him or retire. But I'm confident that Tom will get it done. I was confident the first time, and I'm confident the second time. I think Dustin beats Holloway. He just has the guy's number. Don't see Holloway doing. I don't see Holloway doing Dustin like the Gaethje because Dustin isn't gonna allow it. Yeah, that's true. And I do think that Gaethje kind of fluked it against Poirier. I don't care what anyone has to say. Dustin Poirier is obviously the better fighter than Justin Gaethje. Gaethje just landed a Hail Mary shot and got lucky. It wouldn't happen 9 times out of 10. And I still think Dustin would knock him out if they were to fight again. But I don't know. I wouldn't rule out Max's chances still. I think he could beat Dustin Poirier. And plus, I mean, that fight was actually way closer than people remember. Holloway and Poirier. I'm gonna look up the stats of that fight right now. Holloway versus Poirier. Um, and Max even outlanded him on total and significant strikes. I think Dustin mainly won that fight because of the damage and because he rocked Max badly in the first couple rounds. And then after rocking him, he switched it up and then started like clinching and wrestling a lot, holding Max against the cage. So he had like damage and control time. But people forget, like, after the first 2 rounds, Max Holloway was starting to pick up momentum on the feet. He was starting to outstrike Dustin Poirier. And he started pouring it on Dustin in the third and fourth round. And I can't remember which round it was, but there was one round where he was swarming Dustin, but then he threw a flying knee. Dustin caught it and then pinned him against the cage to stall out. But if Max doesn't throw that flying knee, he might have had a chance to finish Dustin Poirier against the cage. And there was another round, it could have been the third or the fourth, where he had Dustin in a tight, like, I think it was a darts choke at the end of the third or fourth, and Dustin got saved by the bell. So I feel like if Holloway could avoid getting cracked early against Dustin, I think he can outstrike Dustin Poirier. Um, and if he can stay off the cage and not get stalled out, again, he can outstrike Dustin Poirier. Dustin can obviously hurt him, but Max is always improving. I mean, Dustin did look better than ever against Islam Makhachev, but he's still getting older. He's still declining. He's got bad hips, horrible rotation on his punches because of those bad hips. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like in a third fight, like right now, age might show for Dustin Poirier. And even though he looked great against Islam, I feel like that's the best he's ever gonna look ever again. He already had another bad injury coming off that fight, a bad knee injury. Um, so yeah, I mean, me personally, I would favor Holloway. I'm not ruling out Dustin's chances. If it was like Dustin Poirier, if he was like 5 years younger, still against this current version of Max, he might still have his number. But yeah, now I'm not so sure. Um, so what about Valentina? Is she fighting in the Sphere? I don't know. I don't really care. Just as long as Alexa Grasso gets to fight in the Sphere. Do you think, or will it be Manon or versus Grasso? I mean, I would like to see a fresh matchup, honestly. Um, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, it probably will be because Valentina is saying that she doesn't want to fight her on Mexican Independence Day, so it probably is going to be Manon. What? Do I think Nina Drama is a witch? No. I don't understand that question. No, I disagree, brother. Justin was kind of beating Dustin P in every striking exchange. Dustin didn't really start to come on till the end of the first round. And it was only going to get better from there from Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier is the momentum builder like Max Holloway. Um, and I don't think the fight was going to get any better for Justin Gaethje. And I mean, you're acting like Gaethje was piecing him up that badly. He was not. I don't think he knocks out Poirier with a punch if he doesn't land that head kick. And I don't think that as the fight goes on, I don't think he controls or dominates every exchange against Poirier. But I mean, I do think that the trilogy is the fight to make. Neither guy's retiring, and um, yeah, both guys coming off losses. Why not make the third fight? Um, and Dustin never loses two in a row. He won't start now, so maybe this is his chance to get back Justin Gaethje. But that would be a sad fight to do like right now because it's kind of like both guys on the downslope, loser goes home type of fight, and both guys are fan favorites. So it would suck to see, um, either one of them lose and then maybe get retired. I heard that comment about Nina from another content creator. What content creator said that? And that person was probably joking too. Like I wouldn't take it that seriously. I don't think so, no. But I don't know, just that head kick, like he just kind of it was just something that was a wild move he went for, and then it just landed, and then you know Poirier went out. But uh, I just feel like Dustin's better than him. I am a Justin fan. He has lost two in a row. He lost to Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier back to back. But I mean, lately he's been bouncing back between losses, so you do have a point there. I am a Dustin fan. Me too. What do we think of a new female one flyweight champ, Edith Puthie? I don't know who that is, or Edith, or whatever. And I don't really watch. I don't really watch one like that. So I don't know who that is either. What do you guys think of the Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison, PEDs debacle? Because I think Pena said that because I'm seeing I'm sorry, I heard that Juliana Pena said that Kayla Harrison was on PEDs and that pissed Kayla Harrison off. Kayla did not like that, and she said, "I've never cheated, never tested positive." Um, and a lot of fans are commenting, "Cap, that's a lie." Which, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. With Kayla Harrison's build, she don't look like someone who's natty. She definitely looks like someone who's juiced at least some point in her life. I don't want to accuse her of anything, but I wouldn't say Pena's too off with what she said. But I mean, those two, they don't like each other, and that's definitely a fight that may happen down the line. If Juliana can hopefully, please God, let this happen. If she can come back and shut these people up and beat Raquel, then that's going to be the next fight. Kayla Harrison just recovered from her injury, so yeah, Harrison Pena 2025, and honestly, call me crazy. I think Pena actually has a good chance at winning that fight. I'm not saying she wins, but hear me out. I actually think Juliana Pena could beat Kayla Harrison. I mean, on paper, like, Kayla should just smoke Pena, right? She should absolutely smoke her, dominate her, and probably sub her. But I see a path to victory for Juliana Pena. I really do. And how I could see her winning is very similar to how she beat Sarah McMahon. Kayla Harrison, yes, she's been 5 rounds, maybe like, I think twice in her career. Yeah, she's been like 5 rounds twice, I believe. She's gone the full 3 rounds before. Um, but she's never gone a full 5 rounds at 135, and she has to cut a lot of weight to make women's bantamweight, and you have to think that's got to take a toll on her at some point. um and Pena could take advantage of that. Juliana has amazing cardio, something that nobody talks about. I think on the feet, Pena could give Kayla problems, because even though Pena's not known to be a great striker, I feel like Pena's more comfortable going out there and getting hit to give shots, to make ugly, messy exchanges on the feet, where I feel like Kayla's not a tough, gritty brawler like that. So I think she can make Harrison uncomfortable on the feet. And I think she might be able to wear Kayla Harrison down. And Pena's good off her back. She's good on the ground. Um, she's shown against Amanda Nunes in that first fight and against McMahon that she could survive on the ground. She could hang in there on the ground. Um, and she's able to sort of make her way back in the fight and wear you out and then find a submission. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Kayla would win, But I do think Pena could do it. I'm not gonna lie. But she's got to get past Raquel Pennington first, which I'm having doubts that she will. Um, just because Pena has not fought in 2 years. Um, Raquel's been more active, and Juliana, she might be rusty, and it doesn't help that they're literally fighting in Salt Lake City, Utah. They're fighting in altitude, and Raquel trains at altitude. So that's not going to affect her. She's not going to gas. I'm kind of worried for Pena's gas tank, not going to lie. Like, she might gas out of character if she doesn't properly prepare for the altitude, or she might not be able to push that insane pace that she's used to pushing in her fights. She might not be able to go out there and outlast Raquel. She might go out there and get bested in every department of the fight all the way through because her cardio might not be there to back her at altitude. And because, again, not fought in 2.5 years, she might be washed. Let's see. Oh, that's the guy who beat Dricus du Plessis. That's disappointing. He definitely should have signed with the UFC. Izzy is a better striker than Pereira. I agree. Wow, that's sick. You got to see that in person. I wish I could have seen that. And I should have went live to UFC 297 in Toronto, but the card sucked and the tickets were overpriced, so it wasn't really worth it. But I did go to the Alex Pereira meet and greet, and I also did watch the weigh-ins as well. But yeah, I do think Izzy's the better striker because Israel Adesanya, every time they fought, was outstriking him. Alex was just toughing out a beating to come back and then land the big left hook. In the first MMA fight, he basically broke Izzy down with lower attacks, like shots to the body punches to sap Izzy's energy, and destroying the calf to take away Izzy's footwork so then he could eventually trap him against the cage and unload the combinations to get the finish. I was also at Paul versus Perry in Tampa. So you're a Florida guy, huh? I wish Mike Perry won that fight, but I knew Jake was going to destroy him. Too big, more skilled of a boxer. Mike Perry's too small, and he's a brawler, a tough brawler. That's all he is. He was never any good in the UFC. Yeah, he's good in bare knuckle, but this is boxing we're talking about. So, yeah, I knew Jake was going to destroy him. Um, Listen, Alex is having a way better career at the moment, but Izzy is just better skill wise, but he's also smaller. Um, yeah, I agree. And people try to look at, their current career trajectories to compare the fighters to each other as like to say Alex is better. Um, but I don't know, man. I think that he may have just used up the last of his prime to knock out Poatan. And Izzy's been on top for so long. He's getting older, and his style has just kind of been figured out over time, which is why Strickland was able to dominate him the way he was. And I feel like Izzy just wasn't that prepared or motivated for that fight, hence why he didn't show up properly. Um, but also another reason why Alex, became 205 champ and Izzy couldn't. It's not necessarily because Alex is better than Izzy. It's just because Alex Pereira is better suited for 205 than Israel Adesanya. Israel is a natural middleweight. Pereira never belonged in the middleweight division. Light heavyweight is where he always should have been this whole time. And Israel just didn't properly prepare for 205. Like, if you give Izzy a second chance and he actually bulks up and doesn't just come in as an oversized middleweight, but actually puts on some size, some weight, and muscle, he could actually do better in the 205 division right now. And I could see him beating Prohaska, Jamal Hill, even maybe avenging the Jan Blachowicz loss. But 205 is perfect for Pereira because he's big, he's compact, and he's got crazy power as well. So I just think that division's perfect for Alex, hence why he's having the success that he's having. But here's hoping that Israel Adesanya goes out there and sparks Dricus du Plessis. That would be so satisfying if he wins that fight. Alex does kind of leave himself open on the feet, but he gets away with it though. He gets away with it every time, and no one's able to capitalize unless you're Izzy. I wish you could have heard Jake's punches live in the arena. Sound like gunshot. Damn. Yeah, Jake's powerful. Speaking of Paul and Perry in the same sentence, so Jake Paul called out Alex Pereira. That's an interesting call out there. And I do like the idea of that fight happening. And I do think that Pereira would be the first fighter coming from MMA to take out Jake Paul, to put an end to Paul for once and for all. I think he's the perfect style to go up against Jake, honestly, because a lot of the MMA guys that Jake has fought were smaller or old, over the hill. Pereira, yeah, he's old, but he's still in his prime. He still has like a good year or two left in his prime, even into his late 30s. He's bigger than Jake Paul. He's got like probably 3-4 inches on Jake Paul. He's got a power advantage over Jake Paul, and Alex Pereira does have pretty good boxing. I know that's not his number one strength, it's his kickboxing. He could hang in a boxing match, especially against Jake Paul. I think Pereira has a decent chin too to take those shots of Jake Paul. And I think if he does connect on Paul, he's putting Jake Paul's lights out. I don't care. He's knocking Jake Paul the fuck out if that fight happens. I don't see Jake winning that fight. And I do wish that could be his next fight, but the problem is Dana White's not going to release Alex from his contract. The UFC, they don't allow fighters to do dual contracts. They can't step outside into another organization well contracted under the UFC. So fighters who are currently on the UFC roster, if they wanted to box, they can't box. They have to leave the UFC. And that was Ngannou's problem while he was the UFC champion, is he wanted to box, but he was under contract by Dana, so he couldn't leave and go box. I mean, only Conor could do that, but no other fighter's been allowed to do that. I mean, I think it's stupid that Alex has to leave his UFC contract just to box Jake. He should still be under contract with the UFC and take Paul's head off, honestly. But that's not going to be Jake's next fight. He's going to go out there and beat up on old Mike Tyson and ruin Mike Tyson's legacy and embarrass him. And Alex Pereira will go on to probably fight Magomed Ankalaev next. Izzy landed big body kicks on Alex. He was fucking him up. Oh, he was. Lucas and Guru hate on Izzy so much, but ignore his good strike. It's really annoying. And I'm glad that I ran into an Izzy fan, and you're fortunate enough to stumble upon this channel, DJC Combat. Hope you subscribe, because I'm one of the few MMA YouTubers who actually is an Israel Adesanya appreciator. I'm an Israel Adesanya fan. I'm not like that chump Lucas Tracy and MMA Guru, because those idiots, they hate Izzy so much that they literally discredit him at every turn. It's so stupid. Like, they act like Israel Adesanya, just because he lost to Sean Strickland, was never any good. Like, it's so dumb, And Lucas Tracy did his stupid top 15 strikers list and didn't include Israel Adesanya, but includes Alex, who Izzy slept. Included Robert Whitaker, who Izzy was the first guy to expose the striking holes Robert Whittaker had at middleweight. And he was the first guy to beat Whittaker twice at middleweight purely by outstriking him. But then Lucas's cope will be, Robert was robbed in the rematch, so it doesn't count. Nah, Robert Whittaker's 0-2 to Israel Adesanya, whether you like it or not. Izzy doesn't have a fake legacy. A lot of those close fights that he won those fights. Even if you thought the other guy could have won, you can't just act like it was a blatant night and day robbery. And to say that Israel's striking is overrated is dumb. Like, yeah, Izzy lost, but if you're on top for that long, there's going to be tape on you. Fighters behind you are going to be studying you and figuring out how to beat you. And Sean Strickland came along and had the perfect game plan. And I feel like he just caught Israel Adesanya sort of at the perfect time towards the tail end of his career, because Izzy's already talking about retiring. And Izzy, he got what he wanted out of that Poatan rematch. He got his win over Alex, so I'm sure he wasn't feeling that motivated, and he didn't want to fight Sean Strickland. He wanted to fight Dricus. So there was a lot that went into that Sean Strickland loss. But again, the timing and the circumstances favored Sean Strickland. But if this was prime Israel Adesanya, he would not lose to Sean Strickland or DDP. I don't care what anyone has to say. Izzy Dricus will show if he is done. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If he goes out there and loses to Duplessis, I think he's done. I think he should retire. But if he goes out there, looks good, and shows the Sean fight was one bad night, then he's still got it. And if Israel Adesanya can beat Dricus, the only thing left for him is a Sean Strickland rematch. Maybe Khamzat if he can get his shit together. Or maybe try to, for all the marbles, close the Pereira chapter for good. Shut up these Poetards and try to get that second belt. And be the one to end Poetan's 205 run. But you know what I don't get about Lucas Glazy not putting Izzy in his top 15 best strikers? Izzy knocked out Poatan, and Poatan has fought more powerful strikers than Izzy, and these guys couldn't knock out Alex even when they connected on him. I don't think it was just Izzy's power that got him the knockout. It was the timing, the way he set Pereira up for that right hand. The way he set him up for that right hand and hurt him with it every time they fought too. That's got to take really good elite level striking to knock out Pereira. Someone with Yuri striking or Jamal striking or Jan striking isn't going to be enough. But the fact that Adesanya did it should tell Lucas enough. But again, he's biased. If he didn't hate Israel Adesanya, he'd put him on the list. But I would love to see Izzy win just to see Guru and Lucas's cope. Yeah, me too. I can see him hanging up the gloves. And if Izzy was to retire after beating Dricus, honestly, I'd be happy. Because again, there's nothing really left for him, nothing left to prove. Don't give Sean Strickland a chance to beat you twice. Don't risk it. Just retire. And I guess Sean Whittaker for the vacant belt. I would just love to see Izzy retire on top if he knocks out Dricus du Plessis. Because he's accomplished by that point everything he's, set out to accomplish apart from being a double champ. But he doesn't really need to be a champ to fully cement his legacy. He's already been a dominant champ at middleweight. That says enough about his legacy. So, and he's already knocked out Pereira. Why the fuck is Tony always in 3-round fights when his cardio was his biggest thing? Yeah, that's really annoying. Like, if that Paddy Pimblett fight was 5 rounds, Tony Ferguson might have won that fight because Paddy was gassing out hard against Tony. But I also think that if Tony didn't slip in the second round and then was able to defend Paddy's takedown in round 3, he wins. But I don't know, 3 rounds, 5 rounds. I don't think Tony's gonna be able to beat Chiesa because I think Tony Ferguson is going to get submitted by Michael Chiesa. I feel like he's gonna get Kimura'd in round 2, like Carlos Condit did, which is gonna be sad. But I mean, who knows? I hope that some way, somehow, Tony can get back in the win column, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Jamal Hill salty ass with KO Jake Paul. I could see it. Pereira with KO Jake, absolutely. Pereira will never fight Paul as long as Pereira is in the UFC. Exactly, and Pereira is not leaving the UFC anytime soon. I don't see him leaving until maybe like 2027, maybe. Like, I think he's got 2 more fights left at 205, and then he'll try to make a run at heavyweight. And then once he starts losing at heavyweight, he'll probably be more open to the idea of leaving the UFC, retiring, and exploring boxing. Or maybe even going back to kickboxing too, who knows? Paul is going to kill Mike actually death in the ring. Paul? Jake Paul beats Mike Perry in MMA or something? Because he already beat him in the ring. And look what happened to Connor. He's all weirded out. I know he's coked out and crazy. All the best love from California. Been following you for a long time. Can you give a shout out to my new T-shirt brand, Ice Wallow? I saw what you did there, bro. I was gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, bro. You almost trapped me. Nice try. Nice try. You're not gonna get me like they got Michael Bisping. Yeah, he's too old. How can you not like Izzy as a fighter? He KO'd Whitaker, KO'd Costa, KO'd Pereira. Who does that? Exactly. People just don't like Izzy because, I don't know, a lot of his fights as champ have been boring. And then he got dominated by Sean Strickland. So I feel like because of the Sean fight, and him losing 2 out of his last 3 title fights, it's making fans swipe his legacy under the rug. Whereas if Israel Adesanya managed to, I guess, be more exciting or get more finishes as champ, like Kamaru Usman, for an example, he might get more respect. But I don't know. George St. Pierre wasn't always entertaining, but people still love him and respect him looking back. So I don't know why they can't keep the same energy for Israel Adesanya. He may have had some boring fights, but he was effective in all of his fights with his approach, the way he was able to shut down his opponent's offense and pick them apart, work his game. Well, you can't work yours. You can't strike with him. You can't take him down, but he can outstrike you, defend your takedowns. Adesanya, during his run as champ, was a nightmare to deal with. And it took a while for some good strikers to come around that were able to figure him out, like Alex Pereira, elite level kickboxer with one-shot knockout power who can match the leg kick game of Izzy, and then Sean Strickland, who's got the boxing to give Izzy problems. So eventually there did come along some styles that could take Izzy out, but that shouldn't take away from Izzy's legacy and what he's done. I mean, I like Izzy as a fighter. I don't care if he's, gotten boring at times. Hey, DJ, you want to know something funny? Lucas thinks Volk is the best striker, but Lucas, where do you think Volk learned his feints from? Izzy. Exactly. Exactly. So we put Volk at number 1. Dude, Volk learned all that stuff that he learned from Israel Adesanya. I guarantee all that training with Izzy definitely sharpened up his striking. Yeah, it was razor close, but you can't call it a robbery. Like, I don't understand why people act like Israel Adesanya robbed Robert Whitaker, or there's no way you could score that fight for Izzy at all. Izzy outlanded Whitaker in almost every single round. He outlanded him by total and significant strikes, dropped him in the first round, and yeah, Whitaker got the takedowns, but I don't get fans because fans pick and choose when they want to count takedowns in close fights. When Robert Whitaker is getting outstruck by Israel Adesanya, but getting takedowns, oh, he won because he got takedowns and took Izzy's back, despite doing nothing with those takedowns. But then when Tyler Santos takes down and controls Val, when Peter Yan out wrestles Sean O'Malley, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. So fans only go off the whole damage control thing. They only favor the striking aspect if they're rooting for that striker. But if they're rooting for the guy who takes the grappling approach, then they'll say that the guy who grappled in the close fight won. But I do not think that Whitaker did enough to take the belt off Izzy. What Sean Strickland did to Adesanya, which he dominated that fight, that's how you take the belt from the champion. Is you go out there, you drop the champ, you piece him up, walk him down, overwhelm him every single round. That's how you do it. What Whitaker did, just pitter pattering, hopping in and out of range, and playing it safe and fighting off the back foot, shooting takedowns here and there while getting outlanded, is not how you take the belt from the champ. If you want to be the champ, you really got to take it to the champ. And that's not what Robert Whitaker did. That's what Sean Strickland did. So I may not like Sean, but I got to give him respect for that. Lucas thinks Yoel beat Izzy, but why the fuck are you watching that fight back? Exactly. And bro, I don't think Yoel Romero did enough to win that fight either. I thought Israel Adesanya was the busier fighter in that fight. Yoel Romero literally did nothing. Other than a few flurries, what did he do that made him win? Okay, one overhand to the eye. One overhand that he landed on the eye, whatever. But what did he have? What did he have outside of that? Or the flurry against the cage in the second round? Maybe you could argue that Romero won the first two rounds, but I don't think that Yoel Romero won round 4 or round 3. I counted my rounds out of order, but he didn't win the third. He didn't win the fourth, and I don't think he won the fifth round either. Even with that last minute crazy flurry, I thought Izzy was out striking him prior to that. Izzy was doing damage to the legs, and damage trumps all. Yoel Romero did no damage. Izzy did leg damage. So it was boring, but it has to count for something, you know? DJ, Alex was sleeping for 10 minutes after the KO. Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah, he almost knocked out Israel Adesanya. I was scared in that moment, man. I was like, "Oh shit." I did not see that coming. Sean Strickland dropping Izzy, I did not see that coming at all. And that fight arguably could have been stopped. If Goddard stopped that fight, I would not think that was an early stoppage. In my opinion, Sean Strickland had Israel in more trouble than Pereira did when Pereira had Izzy hurt and Goddard stepped in. But Izzy was able to show his toughness and survive. It just sucks that he couldn't rally after and, go on to win the rest of the fight. He went on to win round 2 and then that was it. I believe the UFC wants Izzy to win against DDP. Of course they do, because Israel Adesanya is one of the UFC's biggest superstars who's active when he's winning and the champion. And Izzy makes the UFC a lot of money, so of course they want him to win. It's good for business to have Izzy as the champion. Um yeah, he was. That was so annoying. Like Izzy was on autopilot in round 1, 3, 4, and 5, but actually did something in the second round, which I don't get. But I guess maybe Sean was kind of like starstruck and surprised by the success that he was having, to where he kind of let Izzy have it, and then his coach had to remind him, bro, Izzy's trying to snake charm you, man. You can't play that technical game with him. You gotta come at him, get in his grill again. But Izzy did frustrate me in that fight. He really did. Like, I thought Izzy fought a dumb fight, especially in the first round. He made a mistake by giving Sean Strickland confidence, because Sean wasn't backing him up. Izzy wasn't backing up against the cage because of Sean Strickland. Izzy was backing up because Izzy chose to fight along the cage. And that allowed Sean to walk him down. And through that, that gave Sean momentum, which led to Sean growing in confidence. I think Izzy's odds would have been way better off had Israel Adesanya stood his ground from the first round onward. Because he could have established respect from Sean Strickland, showed, hey, I'm not backing up along the cage. We're going to stand in the center. And Sean may have backed off, and it could have given Izzy more space to kind of, you know, do his thing. I mean, maybe Sean would have won either way, but again, it would have given Izzy a way better shot than just trying to play along the fence. Because once you give a guy like Sean momentum, it's only going to go downhill from there. Like, to beat a guy like Sean, you cannot let him grow in confidence from the get-go. You gotta take him out of his rhythm early to beat him. And Izzy didn't do that. And I do feel like if they were to run it back, I actually do think that Israel Adesanya could win. Honestly, I think he could win, because I think Izzy this time would come in better prepared. He wouldn't underestimate Sean Strickland. I think he'd come in with a better game plan. I'm not saying for sure he beat Strickland in a rematch, but if Strickland were to win again, I have a feeling the fight would be like way closer. It would probably be a split decision. Izzy would have like more moments in that fight against Sean Strickland. And Sean would not beat up Izzy that badly in a rematch. He might beat him again, but he's not going to completely destroy him like he did in the first fight. Just because I don't think Izzy's going to let that happen. And Izzy being Izzy and the good fighter that he is, he's going to find moments of success against Sean. And Izzy has that, he's got that greatness factor too. I mean, people thought he was done when Poatan finished him, and he came back and knocked him out in the rematch. So I wouldn't count him out in a rematch against Sean Strickland. I think Pereira is a worse matchup for Izzy than Sean Strickland. I think Sean caught Izzy on a bad night. I think Izzy was better, a better version of himself the first time he fought Pereira in MMA and lost. I thought that was a better Izzy than what we saw at UFC 293, and I think that version of Adesanya beat Sean Strickland. Izzy KO's Drickus. I could see it. I could see it because Duplessis does get overzealous. Israel Adesanya is a very dangerous counterpuncher, and I could see Izzy landing that arch back left hook, and Dan Hooker saying Adesanya's bigger, hitting harder in training, so I could see a knockout. I'm in every MMA live stream. Ferguson's stand-up really didn't look bad in the Patty fight. Yeah, he was touching up Patty. He was doing good in that fight, but Tony Ferguson late into his career cannot defend takedowns. It's really frustrating. Lucas is a biased fucker, Guru too. Obviously, they're both biased. They can't put their emotions aside when it comes to talking about fights or certain fighters. Guru thinks GSP is better than Jones. Yeah, he only thinks that because just because John Jones popped for PEDs. So that means George is pound for pound better, but that's not really how it works. John Jones never lost. George St. Pierre's lost twice in his career. So I don't agree with Guru on that. I think John Jones, pound for pound, skill for skill, is better than George. DJ said fire Mark Goddard. Demetrius Johnson, or you mean me? I mean, I was definitely complaining about Goddard in the first Yuri Pereira fight when he stopped that fight early. That pissed me off. I'm a fan of Izzy, but bro, Izzy was about to get hit with a big knee if Goddard didn't stop it. Maybe, but Israel Adesanya said he was seeing everything and he was ready to catch the knee and then go for a takedown, so you never know. Reyes beat Jones, but it was close. I could see it, honestly, because watching it live, I remember thinking, Dominic Reyes is winning this fight. Holy shit. He's doing it. He's beating John Jones, and then it went to the cards, and then they said and still, and I remember the whole bar went nuts when that happened. I mean, personally, yeah, I think Reyes kind of got done dirty in that fight, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, his pressure did fuck up Izzy. Plus Israel Adesanya getting dropped, messed with his head. John is better than anyone ever in fucking history. One loss was razor close, and it didn't even count as a loss, and he beat Matt Hamill. Jones is the best ever. You're starting to sound like Dana White, but I agree. I agree. John Jones has never been dominated before, and even if you thought that he lost to Gustafsson or Santos, which he didn't, or Reyes, those were close fights. No one's been able to go out there and completely destroy John Jones. And John, when he moved up and came back after 3 years and dominated Surreal God, made quick work of him, he proved that, yeah, he actually was bored. When he said he was bored at 205 and that's why he was underperforming, I believe him now. I didn't believe him at first, but I believe him now. I thought, okay, it's just because he was washed up. But he came back, refreshed, and he made it look easy against one of the best heavyweights in the world in Cyril Gane. And I'm glad John Jones pleaded not guilty. And I can't wait to see him fight again. I can't wait to see him defend that title against Stipe Miocic. And hopefully he doesn't retire. And hopefully he faces the winner of Tom versus Blades. Hopefully it's Tom, so we can get that big fight in Jones Aspinall. Or maybe Jones Pereira too. That would also be a huge fight. Adesanya might win against Strickland if they rematch. I agree. I totally agree. Israel Adesanya could definitely win. He's got the tools to beat Strickland. I still think he's the better striker than Sean Strickland. I know Sean outstruck him, but it was mainly the boxing and then the teep kick of Sean. But I feel like in a rematch, Adesanya would probably not fight on autopilot this time, and he would see things better, adapt, and I think that he would have an answer for the Sean Strickland teep kick. And I mean, if he can get that teep kick out of the way, that's going to change a lot in the striking between the two. Izzy's got a bigger shot selection, more tools. He's got elbows, kicks, better with body shots than Sean Strickland. And I would like to see Izzy mix it up to the body. I don't mean body kicks because Sean will catch them, but like punch him to the body, go downstairs because Sean can slip headshots, but the body is always going to be an open target, and that could help open up the head of Sean Strickland. So I could definitely see Adesanya making the adjustments needed and getting the job done. Um, do you dislike Jay Hill? Nah, I'm a Jamal Hill fan. I know he's one of the more hated fighters right now because he complains a lot, but nah, I like Hill. I think he's cool. I like his fight style. Ferguson used to be much faster on the feet. Yeah, his reaction timing is slower, and Tony also used to be better on the ground and used to have better takedown defense and used to be good at getting back to his feet. Duplessis only been KO'd by Roberto Soldich. Yep, and hopefully KO'd by Izzy as well. Lucas is odd. I agree. Guru is more tolerable than Lucas. That I can agree with. I mean, I watch both guys, but I do agree. I prefer MMA Guru. Um, Hill pieced up Glover so bad. Guru is a negative bitch. I know. I love seeing MMA gurus like salty reactions to bad picks. It's so funny. I remember he said that his happiness in life and well-being comes down to outcomes of fights. Like, bro, to think like that, you must have a sad life. You must have a sad freaking life. Reyes done dirty. He beat Jones. Does sound like Dana White. Yeah, I feel bad for Reyes, man, because he could have been champion, but instead loses that decision and then goes on like a 3-fight L streak after. But thankfully, he was able to bounce back and knock out Dustin Jacoby. But I still don't see Dominic like winning again, like at an elite level. He'll only beat like the bottom feeders of the division. But it sucks, man. He could have definitely had a former champ status to his name. But these judges, man, they be ruining fighters' careers and legacies like crazy. When you coming to Miami? I don't know. We'll see. Guru doesn't leave his house. Yeah, he's always in his shed. He doesn't leave unless he's going to South Africa to glaze Dricus Duplessis. I'm Dana, haha. That's funny. They still trolling Hill on Instagram comments, and he hasn't been speaking on Alex as of late. I believe he's accepted his loss to Alex, as he should, man, as he should, because he's just making himself look like a clown. Like, just stop complaining. I love you, Hill. I want you to win, but you lost. It's over. Just put your head down, get back to the drawing board, try to pick up a few wins, and then maybe try to get that Pereira rematch. But right now, you just gotta stop complaining, man. Just shut up and fight and win, and fans will respect you. If you have a brain that works, you know Jones is better than GSP and Mighty Mouse. Jamal Hill's eyes rolled to back head after he was KO'd. Jamal Hill's eyes rolled back after he was KO'd. Yeah, that was brutal. Hill Roundtree's violence. They should reschedule that fight because I don't think that Rountree's suspension is going to be that long anyway. So make that fight next. Let Jamal have an easy win, and then maybe fight Yuri after, and then title shot. But that's interesting that you think Hill beats Alex in a rematch. Why do you think so? Because, I mean, Prohaska, if anyone had a chance to beat him in a rematch, it was Yuri, who had success in the first fight. Jamal Hill got dominated. So, what makes you... I mean, he didn't get dominated before the KO. They're going tit for tat, back and forth on kicks, but Jamal didn't really have that much success and got smoked within a round. So, what makes you think that he would win? Roundtree popped in May, I believe. because it was a weird moment before the KO. Oh yeah, where you know, Alex had that hold on, let me cook bro moment with Herb Dean, and it threw Hill off guard, and then the momentum pause. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Jamal would win without the momentum pause though. I mean, do you think he would have caught Alex eventually, like going into round 2 or something? It's a lot of cowards on the internet. Everyone's super tough on keyboard. I bet none of them beat people trolling, talking shit under Hill's comments wouldn't dare to be bold enough to have that energy if they've seen him in person. That reminds me of when Jamal Hill like challenged everyone to challenge the trolls, the haters to spar him in the gym, and no one took that offer at all. Because they're all cowards, of course. Why are you ignoring my comments, bro? I support you. Because you're trying to set me up to make these, like, inappropriate comments, bro. But, hold on, let me see. Again, I'm not reading that, Juice Man. You're trying to be slick with these sayings. They're not going to work. Yeah, he'll knock him out next time. Nah, these dudes can't fight Hill, haha. Alex is a better striker in MMA, so that would be funny if Alex showed up to the gym to fight Jamal Hill again. That would actually be hilarious, and I wonder how Hill would react. And I wonder how that would go. Do you do kung fu? No, but I used to train karate. And I did train Muay Thai. I definitely want to get back into it again. I also used to do wrestling when I was younger. Let's see. Um, let's see. If I was in Hill's position, I would ignore them trolls because most of them people who talk shit or trolling are broke, unemployed losers with a lot of time on their hands. I would also just ignore them too because that's what they want. They want attention from a professional fighter. And he's feeding into what the trolls want. He's giving them attention. Like imagine being a pro fighter, yet you're getting sucked into that. That's just stupid. That would be fun though to link up to a UFC event. Hill retired Glover. Yeah, that was brutal. That was a brutal beatdown. Um for sure. And Glover knew after that, yeah, he was done. He needed to retire. Okay, predictions for UFC 305. Um, I think Rosenstrike will knock out Tai Tuivasa because Tai Tuivasa is a bum who can't win anymore. Um, Kai Kara France and Steve Urseg, I actually don't know. Um, because Urseg is good. He proved himself against Pantoja. Kai's coming off that last fight where he arguably got robbed. Kai is a very dangerous striker with power, but so is Urseg. I don't know. I'll probably lean the way of Steve Erceg, maybe by a close decision. But I don't know. Kai might actually win, but I'm gonna say Steve Erceg. Um, Adesanya Dricus. I haven't really made up my mind on that prediction yet. It's ultimately gonna come down to Israel Adesanya and how Izzy shows up. If Israel Adesanya still has it, if he's not washed up, I think Izzy wins. But if Israel Adesanya is anything like his last fight, then he won't win. I know it's not a clear, concise prediction, but that's what I got for right now. Hill is injured. He probably won't be back again until 2025. That sucks, man. Like, he was gonna do a quick turnaround, fight twice this year. He already recovered from like Achilles injury. Now he has a knee injury, man. I hate when good fighters, suffer these injuries in their careers because injuries can change fighters, and I'm kind of worried that Jamal is going to be one of those fighters who like had potential, but then injuries kind of got in the way, and then he's just not the same anymore. Those juvenile comments are not funny. Yeah, you're trying to trap me into saying eat poo. I'm not gonna. Nah. There is no Edith Poothy. I've already. Oh, you're trying to trap me into saying that. Okay, never mind. But yeah, there's no fighter in one with that name. I see a lot of people talking crap under Anthony Smith's comment section. He just ignores them. That's what you should do. Just block, ignore, don't engage. Grasso, Manon. Valentina doesn't want to get fucked up again by Grasso. Yeah, I don't blame her, man. I wouldn't want to fight her thrice either. And if they do it a third time, I think Grassel's going to get a more convincing win. Usually when it comes to these close fights and rematches, it always favors the younger fighter. And Grasso is always improving. Valentina is not. So this is as good as Valentina's ever going to get. She peaked when she became the champion. And I think her age is going to show in the trilogy where Grasso is going to look the best she's ever looked in this third fight and finish Valentina. Now, if it's Furo, going to be a bit of a tougher fight. I still will go with Alexa because Manon doesn't grapple offensively as much as Val, although she might try. She mainly strikes. And I think it's going to be mainly a striking match between the two, and I think Grasso will just outbox her. I don't respond to trolls either. I just ignore them, as you should. Urseg KO. Interesting. Interesting. Izzy sleep Strickus. He better. He better sleep Dricus Duplessis, man. I want to see Izzy win just to shut these people up, man. To shut up his haters. I mean, they're still gonna talk, but it'll still be it will still be it'll still be satisfying nonetheless. Like, I need to see Izzy come back and get a big win again. He knocked out Pereira. That was one of his most satisfying wins. Knocking out Duplessis will be equally as satisfying. Got you twice. Haha. Hill is 11 years younger than Glover. I know. Smith versus Hill, that would be murder. They were supposed to fight last year, but there'd be no point of that now. I mean, why would they fight? They're friends. They train together. Jamal's no longer that prospect rising through the rankings, looking to take Smith's ranking spot. Jamal will be going backwards against the guy on a losing streak. And he would murder Anthony Smith. That would be easy money. I mean, you can't strike with the Lidsey. You're not striking with Jamal Hill. That's facts. 33, 34 now. That's crazy. Yeah, Grasso will put the nail in the coffin. Alexa, female BMF belt. She deserves it. Am I crazy for thinking I'll engage in sexual intercourse with Grasso and Pena? Oh my gosh, that's funny. I wish. But keep dreaming though. It will be who executes their game plan. Grasso's body though. Yeah, I know. And I think this time, yeah, I'm still with Pena. Uh I I think this time though, I think Grasso's gonna be able to better implement her boxing than Val will be able to implement her wrestling. That's what I think. Yeah, men and sidekicks are pretty good. Aaron Grasso, I think it would be a tough fight because Aaron has the wrestling. She could take Alexa down, but Grasso has an underrated ground game, and she's got too much experience to let herself be finished on the ground by Aaron. So I reckon she could survive getting taken down, get back up, and piece Blanchfield up. I'm going to say Grasso wins that fight by a hard fought, tough, close decision where she gives up a lot of takedowns, but wins due to the damage based scoring. Yep, she's got great boxing and BJJ. Aaron versus Rose. I think Rose would win that fight. I used to think Aaron wins, but she hardly shoots takedowns in her fights, and that's dangerous against a striker like Rose. She's always getting pieced up in her fights and hit clean. Rose would outstrike her so easily. I mean, if Erin Blanchfield like fights the way she fought Santos, which is constant pressure, constant takedown attempts, and clinching, she might be able to wear Rose down, sap her energy. But if she fights her the way she fought Manon, she's not winning that fight. I think Duplessis' chin is better than Pereira's. It might be. Bruh, this Juice Man guy is weird. You'll never catch me smelling like turtle ankle, bruh. Never. Oh, I thought you said you'll never catch me smelling a turtle's ankle. I was like, what the heck? Okay, who wins? Ilia or Max? It's a 50-50 fight. I'm gonna say probably Taporia by decision. I'm gonna say that. I think he will land the bigger, harder shots on Holloway. I think the fight's just gonna be closer than people expect. And I feel like Ilya's going to have the more dominant rounds. I feel like he'll do more damage. And it will be a close decision that the judges are going to lean the way of the champ Tapuria. That's what I'm going to predict. But that might change. Um, who wins, Volk or Gaethje? Um, I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like a full camp Volk at lightweight is a monster, but he might not be the same man after those two knockouts in a row. Prime for prime, Volk would win easily because he's way faster, way more skilled, way better striker. He'd dominate Gaethje in his prime. I mean, Gaethje was struggling with Michael Chandler. Imagine if Gaethje had to fight someone like Volk with the skills that he has. But right now, probably Gaethje KO. Max might head kick KO Ilia Taporia. It's possible Bryce Mitchell was landing head kicks and um Jai Herbert dropped Illy with the head kick. Same with Volk. Gaethje lost his chin. Yeah, they both did. Islam or Jones, who's the pound for pound king? Um all in all, John, but because Islam recently has been more active, it's fair to put him at number one. Because of what he's done, beat Volkanovski twice. than that Islam or the Dustin finish. So I got to give it to Islam right now, but John will get his ranking spot back when he comes back and beats Stipe. So it doesn't matter anyway. Sean looks like he closes every door and a drawer in his house with his hips like a fag. That's funny. Oh yeah, those spinning back kicks are good of Max. Um, but man, Gaethje was so dumb for like constantly dipping his head. Like he asked to get kicked in the nose because that was meant to be a body kick. But Gaethje kept dipping his head, so of course he got kicked in the nose and got his nose broken. Rose versus Jones, nah. Rose Zhang 3. That's a tough one because Rose looked really good in her last fight, but looked really good against Tracy Cortez. Cortez is not of on that Zhang level. The last fight they had was really close. In the first fight before the head kick, Weili was kind of slightly outstriking Rose by a small margin. And I don't know, man. Weili's constantly getting better. She's more consistent, has a better, stronger mindset than Rose. Stylistically, Rose is one of the hardest fights for Weili because on paper her striking's better. She's got the length, the movement, the footwork, the distance management to give Weili trouble. Um, and not to mention, she's equally as well rounded as Weili. Like this is someone that Weili's fighting that she's not going to have a huge grappling advantage over, like she did against Lemos and Yan Xiaonan. She's fighting a striker who has the threat of taking her down, can defend her takedowns, can reverse her takedowns, scramble with her, threaten submissions. So I would probably pick Zhang though to win by decision in a third fight. It would still be close though. It would still be a tough fight, but I feel like a big reason as to why they gave it to Rose is because she was the champion and they always give close fights to champions, especially in rematches. So, yeah, I feel like that's a big reason as to why they gave it to Rose. But if the shoe was on the other foot and it was Rose challenging for the belt and Zhang was the champion, if the first fight went anything as the second fight did, I think they would give it to Weili. Although some close fights you'll hear and new, like Carlo Rose and Dricus Duplessis versus Sean Strickland, those are like rare instances. But again, they always give close fights to champs. But right now, I think they would give it to Zhang. I think she can strike with Rose just enough to be competitive on the feet. And I think she could have striking success and then have a lot of wrestling success again. So I think she could land some nice leg kicks, some nice punches on the feet, and then get some takedowns to score points. So I'm gonna say Weili, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rose were to win again because she is a bad matchup on her best night. Any weight class really, 115, 125, it's always gonna be a high level competitive fight, no matter what. uh, Gaethje struggling with or Chandler, that was 2021 because he won that fight, but it wasn't without difficulty. Like he lost the first round, was getting outstruck in round one, got rocked in the first round. And yeah, he did win the second round from the knockdown, but then round three, it was any man's round, but Gaethje took that round seriously. That's why he ended up winning the fight. But Chandler was posing him problems with his speed, his athleticism, his lower center of gravity. And I feel like Volkanovski could do something very similar, but again, with better striking and better IQ and better cardio. Yeah, I know it was 3 years ago, but still, Gaethje hasn't really gotten any better since. Volk has just gotten worse since 3 years ago. Yeah, I agree. Gaethje is definitely BMF material. I wouldn't say Gaethje lost his chin. I mean, Alvarez knocked him out. Yeah, and then look what happened since. He managed to come back, go on a run. But I mean, the difference between then and now is Gaethje was younger. He was a way younger fighter. Had a lot of time to grow and improve. Now Gaethje's sort of towards the end of his career. He's 35 years old, going on 36 years old. So he's got age against him, father time, mileage. So you combine those things together and the damage he took, his chin now might be gone. But you can never say for sure. Is pound for pound great. Well rounded, good everywhere. Good striker, good power, good grappler, good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu, and probably soon to be Armin. Stipe, vet, heavyweight goat, but washed, inactive, and gonna retire soon when John finishes him. But anyway, I'm gonna hop off this live now, but it was fun talking to y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm looking forward to this weekend, and thank you guys for watching.